Hello. Now, for this video, I'm going to be going back to one of the original purposes for which I actually started recording videos, which was I'd originally created a puzzle which my testers said was quite hard, and I had and they wanted a way of getting some hints for it, and I thought the best way of doing that was recording a video. And I sort of started enjoying it and kept recording more videos. This is another one of my puzzles. I don't think this one is particularly hard. I think this one is quite approachable, but I actually think there's some very nice logic to it, and I've had some very positive feedback about this puzzle, so I thought I would record a video and share it with you. I will provide links to the puzzle in the description. So I think that this puzzle would be doable by many solvers, so I highly recommend giving it a shot. And if you get stuck, feel free to just watch the video or use the video to get some assistance to get unstuck. I have not actually done this puzzle in a while, so it is possible that I will get a little bit stuck, but I'm fairly sure I'll be able to work my way through it. So let's give this puzzle a go. This is a normal Sudoku rules apply puzzle, of course. Digits cannot repeat on diagonals. The diagonal lines, unfortunately, are a bit obscured by the other lines in the grid. It's just the way the software renders. There's nothing I can do about that. The green lines in this puzzle are German whispers lines. The way German whispers lines work is if there is a digit on a German whispers line, let's say this was a 7, that's a bad example, let's say this was an 8, then any digit next to it must be at least 5 different from that digit. So if this is an 8, then the digits, these digits would both have to be 5 different. So for example, in this case, these would have to be 1 and 2, because 3 is already in the box and 4 is not far enough away. Neither is 5, 6, 7 or 8. Okay, so understanding how the German whispers lines work, what we should do is then try and solve this puzzle. So one of the things to understand about a German whispers line is you cannot put a 5 on a German whispers line. If you try and put a 5 somewhere on a German whispers line, then what you end up with is 5 minus 5 is 0. 0 is not a digit you can use by the rules of Sudoku. 5 plus 5 is 10. Also not possible by Sudoku. So you can never put 5 on a German whispers line. And when you look at the diagonal, all but one of the cells is on a German whispers line. So you can start off by immediately putting a 5 in the middle. The next thing to look at, and I believe it is on this diagonal, is where can we put 4? So on a German whispers line, you cannot put 4 in this box. If you were to put 4 here, because the only digit that is 5 away from 4 out of 1 to 9 is 9, you would put a 4 here, and then you would have to put a 9 in both of these squares, which is of course impossible because you're putting 2 9s in the row. So you cannot put 4 there. If you tried to put 4 here, you would have to put 9 in both of those squares, which is not possible. So if you put 4 here, you could put 9 in either of those. That would work. So that's a possibility for 4. 4 here doesn't work because 9 would go in both of those. 4 here is fine because there's only one digit. So 4 goes in one of those 2 squares. This tells us something interesting. With a German whispers line, as you may have already deduced, the digits will go low, high, because you must always change by at least 5. So if you put a 1 to 4 on this digit, even if this is a 1, the furthest this could be is 6, 7, 8, 9, and then staying 5 away, this would be 1, 2, 3, 4 again, and you just keep going low, high. And by determining what these 4s, that the 4 had to be in one of these 2 spots, what we've been able to determine is that these, and I'll use blue, must be low, which means these 3 must be high and that one must be low. So we've been able to determine the high-low of this German whispers line. We can then look at 6. So 6 on this row can't go in a low cell, so it can't go in either of those two. If it was to go here, then both of these would need to be 1, which is not possible. If it was to go here, then both of these would need to be 1, which is not possible. It could go here and both of these could be 1. Can't go here because both of those would need to be 1. So 6 is limited to one of those two. And again, we have been able to figure out the high-low parity of that German Whispers line. So immediately, because of the diagonal constraint, we can figure out the positions of the 4s and 6s. Now, it's actually, I remember it being a little bit more constrained than this. If this is a 4, and of course, if this is a 4, these would both be 9s, but they're both on the diagonal. So this could never have been a 4. This has to be a 4. This is not a 4. The same parity holds. Same here. If this is a 6, these both have to be 1s, but they're on a diagonal. So this has to be a 6, and this has to be a 1. This has to be a 9. So we've immediately got 5 digits on the diagonal. And I don't know why I ever did that. I missed it. Now, we've got 1 and 4 and 2 more low digits on the diagonal. So they have to be 2 and 3, and these have to be 7 and 8. And that completes what we know about this diagonal. So if this was 7, this could not be 3, because 3 is not 4 away from 7, but we haven't locked those in yet. So now we can look at this other diagonal. This can no longer be 4, because there's a 4 looking at it. This can't be a 4, because we'd have to put those two as 9. This can't be a 4, because those two would be 9. So none of those can be 4. The same applies here. This can't be 4, it's seeing a 4. That would see both of those. That would see both of those. None of those can be 4. 4 has to go into one of those two cells in the center box. The same applies for 6. Can't go there, can't go there because it would see 2, can't go there because it would see 2. Same up here, so 6 can only go in one of those two spots, and we end up with a 4-6 pair in box 5. Now, we already know, because of the German Whispers constraint, that 1 and 9 must go next to, if this is a 4, then this must be surrounded by 9s, and if this is a 6, it must be surrounded by 1s. The same applies here. So we actually get 1-9 pairs in those cells. We don't know which is high and which is low yet, but we do know which one, that these cells can only be 1s and 9s, because in the middle of the line we've got a 4-6 forced. And we're still not done with the diagonal. These three are now 4, 5, and 6. So what we've got to do is we've got to figure out, where can 7 go on this diagonal? 7 can't go here because 7 is already in the box. So 7 must go in one of these 3 cells, but there's a 7 down here in box 9, which means 7 can only be in one of those 2 cells, and this is telling us the high-low parity of this line. Now, it is also worth noting, because of these 2 7s, and we know this must be a 7. And this must be a 7 because 7 can only go in one of these 3 cells. This is a 1-9, so it can't go there. And this is a low, so it can't go there. But 7 must go in one of those. Now, you'd immediately think maybe you can do the same with 3s. So we did it with 7s, and there's a 3 here, so maybe we can do it with 3s. But 3 is not as restricted. There's no 3 pointing at this part of the diagonal. But what we do have now is we've got 3 high digits already allocated on this diagonal. These must be 2 high digits, which must be from 7, 8, and 9, because the 6 is already used on the diagonal. And the 6 cannot be used. So we can only use 8 and 9 down here, and we can only use one of them. So 1, 2, 3 high digits already used on the diagonal. In these 3 cells, we can only use 1 high digit. And because we can only use 1 high digit, those cannot be high. So those 2 digits must be high, those 2 digits must be low, and we end up with the parity of the this German Whispers line. We've got a 1 and a 4. I'm trying to remember what the next step is. It's been a while. So this is 8 or 9. This can see 1 and 3, so it's 2 or 4. So these have, this can't be a 4. So this sees 1, 3, and it sees 4 on the diagonal. So this must be 2. So that means we've got 2 and 4. These are 1 and 3. Seven cannot be next to 3 or 4 because they're not far enough away. So this must be 1 or 2, and we've now got a 1, 2, 3 triple in row 7. So this must be a 9, this must be a 9 because this must be the 4. And we're getting the high-low parity on these German Whispers line. This now becomes a 6, these both become 1s. 2 and 3 mean that can't be 6 because 6 would need to be next to 1, so that's another 7, 8, 9. Six must go in one of those two because 6 is knocked out of those and that's a low digit. This is a 6, an 8 or a 9. And we've got most of the German Whispers done, I think. This is 1 or 4, and it can't be a 1, so that's a 4. That puts a 4 in one of those two, so that becomes a 4. Puts a 4 in one of those two. And at this point it really is, I think, the puzzle mostly coming down to, there is a 9 here, so that becomes an 8. That is not an 8. None of those are 8. That's a 7, 9 pair. 7 cannot go next to a 4. It's not far enough away, so that becomes the 7. That becomes the 9. There is no 9 here. This is a 7, 8 pair. In order for one of these to be a 7, this cannot be a 3, because 3 next to 7, the only difference is only 4. That becomes a 2. 6 can't go here. 6 is not a low digit, so this now must be the 6. This must be 2 or 3. This is, there's a 5 in there, so it's 2, 3, 5. There's a 1 looking down here. This is a 2, this is a 3, this is a 1. There's a 3 here, so that can no longer be a 7. That must be an 8, which means that's a 7. Which means that's an 8. If that's an 8, that can't be a 2. It must be a 3, taking 3 out of those. Oh, there's a 1 in the diagonal, so that, and in the box, so that's now a 3. 3 next to 8 is fine. 7 has to go in one of those two. It can't go in the German Whispers line because it's too close to the 9. And realistically, I believe this puzzle is just down to Sudoku, but I'm trying to remember. This must be a low digit, so it's 1, 2, or 4. Can't be a 2, it's a 1 or a 4. These digits are 1, 5, and 8. This can't be a 1. These digits are 3, 8, and 9. Neither of those two can be 9, so that's the 9. Putting 9 in one of those two. That 9 is looking at that, so that becomes the 9. 3. 4 can't be there, so this is now a 4. Because there needs to be a 4 in the row, and it can't be in those two because there's already 1 in the box. This becomes a 2, 5 pair. 2, 5, 3, 8. So 1, 2, 3. This is needs to be 4 and 6, and we know that 4 has to be in the top. So that's a 4. That's a 6. That is not a 4. There's only 4 possible digits here. 2, 3, 5, and 7. This can't be 5 or 7. Can't be 5 because you can't put a 5 on a German Whispers, and there's one looking at it. Can't be 7 because it's not too far enough away from 9. This can't be 2. These are a known pair, 5 and 8. So this is a known triple, 1, 2, and 6. This can't be 6. So 6 is in one of those two, which puts 6 right there because it's got 6, 6, 6, and 6 looking at it. Three is in one of those two because it needs to go in the box and it can't go in any of those. Those 3 are pointing at that, which now must be a 2, which takes 2 out of there, makes this a 5, this a 2. That takes 5 out of those, making these a 3, 7 pair, which isn't resolved but gives me a triple here, which is 1, 5, and 8. Can't put 5 in the middle, can't put 1 at the top, can't put 8 at the bottom. That's 3. This becomes a 3, 7 pair because a 7 needs to go in and that's looking at it. So that means this is a 1, 9 pair. And there's a 1 right there. So that's the 9, that's the 1. 1 makes that a 5, makes that a 8, makes that a 1. These are now just 2 missing digits, which is 8 and 9. And there is a 9 looking at that, so that's the 8, that's the 9. This has to be from 6, 7, 8, and 9. It sees a 7, an 8, and a 9, so this is now a 6. So we've got the 6 locked in. That puts 6 into one of those two. This is now a 1. No, I can take, there's an 8 there now, so that becomes a 5, that becomes a 1. We take 1 out of there, and the missing digit seems to be 3, which makes this a 7, which makes this a 3. This is now just missing a 5. This is missing 2 and 7. There's a 7 looking at it, so that becomes a 2, that becomes a 7. This becomes a 1, which takes 1 out of those. 2, well, it becomes an 8, but that's a 2, 6 pair. which is not yet resolved. All of the German whispers lines are done. Oh, that 3 has been there since the beginning. I don't know why I ever said that could be what it is. So that 8 is now making that a 5 and then an 8. There's only 2 digits missing from row 2, which is 4 and 7, I think. There's a 4 here. So that's 4. That's a 7. This is now a triple, which is 2, 5 and 9. There is no 2 there. Oh, there's a 2 in the middle because there's a 5, 9. There's a 9 there, so that becomes the 5. That becomes the 9. 7 there makes that a 3, makes that a 7. The missing in this column is 3 and 5. So that has to be the 3. That has to be the 5. There's a 1 here now, so that's the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is now an 8. This 5 is looking over at this 2, 5. This 2 is looking at this 6, 2. And the last 2 digits we need to put into the grid are 1 and 6. And that completes the puzzle. As I said, it's not a very hard puzzle. I just thought that the interaction of the German whispers line and the diagonal constraint was interesting, and I thought that I would share that with you. I hope that you did try the puzzle first, because I do think it is a good introduction to German whispers for people who are getting into Sudoku and have watched a few videos to try and understand how the logic works. Thank you for watching.